Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Bad Moon's Orbit. I am, as always, your dank hold the trog boss, Dalton Montgomery.
And I'm Darian, the owl lady.
Ooh, perfect.
Thank you.
Second episode on the Gloomspite Gitz, just too big of a topic to handle in a single episode, and also they're my favorite and I love them, so we're going to give them two.
Fair.
But last episode, if you'll remember, we talked about the Moonclans, all of our little greebly wizards and fungus boys and
The fun guys.
Yeah, the fun guys. And the, like I said, the little scheming and running around wizards and fanatics and all that fun stuff. We talked a little bit about the Spider Clan.
That just live in the interdimensional pathways of reality.
Yeah. Trapdoor spiders in reality.
Neat, that's fine.
And today we're going to talk about the other two big groups of Gloomspite Gitz society. Today's focus is going to be on troggoths, which is AOS's term for trolls.
Oh.
Yeah. I
forgot
like it.
for a half a second that they're all just given copyrightable names.
I like troggoth, to be fair.
Troggoth feels
they're
fine.
troggoths, yeah.
Troggoth feels distinctly different from troll. Like, it's the same sound,
Yeah.
but, like, it's not like some of them which feel just too similar and piss me off.
Fair, yep.
Troggoth, I did think was going to be a totally different guy, so that's fine.
It's troggoths today and Gitmob, our wolf-riding, sun-revering kind of other half to that coin.
I like that very much.
Yeah, they're great. But let's jump in with troggoths. Anyone who was playing 4th edition Age of Sigmar when it first released probably remembers troggoths. They were real good there for a minute. They were just underpointed is what it was. But that's not what we're not here to talk about game stuff. We're here to talk about lore stuff. So what is a troggoth?
It's a troll!
Yeah, it's a troll. You get a lot of the kind of baseline, like when I say troll for fantasy fiction, probably the first thing that jumps to your mind is like the 3 trolls from The Hobbit, maybe, or...
Turns to stone in sunlight.
Yes, turns to stone in sunlight. Trolls from Terry Pratchett's Discworld.
Trolls from Hilda.
Yeah, trolls from Hilda. These ones aren't so much like those ones. Those ones are cute.
Those ones are cute. They don't like bells. Yeah, Discworld trolls, Hobbit trolls, a troll in Central Park.
Oh, very good. Good call. Good pull. In my mind, typically the things that signify a fictional troll is like big, strong, usually some form of like regenerative property that feels important to like typical troll, and the turning to stone and sunlight is like a very classic.
That's the thing, right? I'm
trait.
like, what makes it? If you have a big, large, strong beastie,
right?
What makes it a troll and not an ogre or a giant? And I do think it's the stone in sunlight thing.
Yeah.
You might tell me that doesn't matter here.
It's not gonna come up for Warhammer trolls, so they do not turn to sun and. Or stone inside.
Wow,
I did it too. Yeah,
Stonelight is a good vibe. Though. What a smell!
They do not turn to stone and sunlight. They don't like sunlight. It hurts their eyes. It like they're
too,
just
man.
more. Yeah. They're more typified by their regenerative properties. I think that's more of a trait. Like they're more in a tradition of like Dungeons and Dragons trolls.
Okay.
Because that's the thing that Dungeons and Dragons trolls do is they have pretty strong regenerative like capabilities.
Okay.
Warcraft trolls are very different, but they're also like typified by regeneration. And so Warhammer trolls, regeneration is their shtick. It's very hard to keep a troll down. It's hard to keep a good troll down. But what I like about Age of Sigmar's take on trolls, on troggoths, is that they are weird. And they're weirder than I think anyone gives them credit for.
This is one of the episodes where there's not a image slideshow for me, and I don't ever look at those until Dalton says, and now look at slide B.
Yeah.
But now we have the minis that are all just sitting on my bed right now. And they are weird, gang.
Yep.
Like, I'm sure you, dear listener, know, but like, these are... I would not have known these were all supposed to be the same kind of creatures.
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe.
I'm into it. I'm excited.
That's kind of the vibe with troggoths. Like I said, I like troggoths because they're weird. And I like, for whatever reason, regeneration tickles my brain. I think it's a neat, like, fantasy power to have. So we've got some typical troll traits. They're big, they're strong. They're generally, and like this varies per setting, I feel like, but generally something that I think is typical trolls and kind of interesting is that they tend to be, they're not beasts. They're not like a dungeon monster that's just operating on instinct. They tend to be intelligent,
They're like a
but
guy.
just like not intelligent, right?
Oh, they're like a guy, but they're not a smart guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And that's tends to be unique for monster. Like you put a troll in the same room as like a remora or whatever, the like big weird insects from D&D or whatever, or like an umber hulk or whatever. Like those are big, like humanoid shaped, but they're not smart. They can't like make deals and reason and stuff, whereas trolls usually are. Trolls have like brains enough to be able to reason.
It's just too hot for them.
Yeah, yes. This is a Discworld reference.
I'm 3 for 3 on getting to talk about Discworld on the 3 different podcasts that I recorded today.
Hell yeah. So how do Age of Sigmar trolls diverge? So the big one, and I think the one that makes them so like diverse in Age of Sigmar, why there's like we have so many varieties, is that we've turned that like regenerative property into also a like rapid adaptation.
Oh, okay.
Like a troll who moves to a new location is going to just kind of slowly metamorphosize to better like exist in that location.
Ooh.
Yeah, they're kind of big monstrous eevees a little bit.
Big
where they just
eevees.
Yeah, where they just kind of adapt to the circumstances they're in, and that has led to like all of these different kinds of like trolls that exist in the world because they just find their niches and they like inhabit them.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So we have, even amongst the ones like that we have like physical models for here, we have like a bunch of different subspecies that don't have models but do exist in lore that we're going to talk about that are like just extensions of that idea of like being in a different place like and adapting to it
Nice.
in that way. So let's talk a little bit about like the mind of troll.
Okay.
Because trogs are sentient. Trogs are capable of thought, capable of reason. They just aren't generally very bright. They just don't have a lot going on.
Okay.
And that's like 2 parts like physicality, like they're just not built to be smart, and 1 part they don't really have need to be smart.
Okay,
it's like
that's fair.
Like the average troll, if you orchestrated the circumstances by which they could like learn a bunch of stuff, we could probably pull them up to like reasonably smart, but they don't need to. They're big, they're tough, they just do what they want.
That's fair.
And they don't need they don't need all those things that you usually use smarts for. Like I said, we have examples in lore of trolls that can do magic, which is an intentionally like inherent or is explicitly a intelligence thing. Like you have to have smarts to do magic. And so like we know that they're capable in that way. Trolls have an afterlife. They have their own dedicated afterlife in Shyish. That to our knowledge, I think the official vibe is that Nagash claims the troll afterlife. He just doesn't care about it because it's just a big cave. It's just one single big cave.
Okay.
That all troll souls go to after they die.
Just go to the big cave.
Yeah, it's where they can hang out and sleep.
You know what? That's a pretty good gig if you can get it.
It's called Droog.
Nice.
So yeah, like I said, we know they're at least smart enough that they're not like there's not a squig afterlife, right? Like because squigs are just animals. Yeah. Like so what like coordination we tend to see them exhibit is seemingly very instinct driven. Official term for like a group of trogs is a trog herd. And so all of the thing that unites all Gitz, right, is the bad moon. Goblins are empowered by it, squigs are empowered by it, trolls are empowered by it. And unlike those other groups where typically like the bad moon will show up someplace and like maybe goblins have like received prophecy and stuff and like read the bones or whatever to try and be there when it arrives, or like squigs are drawn to it after it arrives and stuff. Trogs tend to like get together and then they'll like go to a place and then like the next day the bad moon will arrive.
Whoa.
Yeah. And like again, it's all this is through the lens of that like destruction faction. Like a lot of this is told through the lens of like, ooh, an imperial like collegiate wizard like has the thesis they wrote on like trog behavior, not like firsthand account from trolls generally. I think there's only like 3 or 4 quotes from actual trolls in all of the official material because they don't have a lot to say.
That's fair. That makes sense. Yeah.
But it leads to a lot of speculation on what trolls' relationship to the bad moon is. So there's that, like I said, there's that instinctive thing where it's like they know where it's going to be beforehand, just on a very like primal level, and so they're just showing up ahead of time. There's like very weird theories. I can't remember if we mentioned it last episode, but I'm going to mention it now because it's showed up in a lot of official material as like a theory that people have.
Okay.
Is that trogs are so weird compared to other things affected by the bad moon that one of the theories that like has been proposed and has like some weight to it is that trogs might be native to the bad moon.
Ooh.
Yeah, like they're not native to the realms. They like either like rode here on the bad moon as like its own like chunk of whatever their world was.
Like the space dinos that showed up in their pyramid ship.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's one of the like, because they bear resemblance to old world trolls, but they're different enough that it's like, is like the bad moon a chunk of the old world that like flew through space a la Sigmar? Are they from somewhere else entirely? Some people say it's not even a like, ooh, there just happened to be trolls on this thing and then it flew through space and got weird and now it's here. But that the bad moon is explicitly a troll spaceship. Like that they came here on purpose. Yeah. And so it's not that they are showing up where the bad moon is going to arrive. It's that they are directing it. Yeah. They're charting courses for it. Yeah.
They don't need to be smart anymore, so it's not a thing. Yeah. It just does what it was that's fine. That one. I say that one.
Yeah. And that also leads to...
If I lived there, if I lived in the realms, I'd say that one. That's the theory I would personally subscribe to if I was a collegiate wizard.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd get in fist fights with other collegiate wizards who'd say otherwise.
It's important, yeah.
There's a whole college thesis about it.
It's very...
That text list sucks objectively.
Yes. And that leads to the like, is this like some part of ancient lost Troggoth technology that they can't utilize anymore? Or like there's some people who theorize like actually trogs aren't stupid. They're just clever enough to not let on. Like they are actually smart and they've got some grand design that they're working towards and they just aren't letting anyone else know.
No one else needs to get in on this plan because you let other people get involved. It didn't work last time. Why would it work this time?
It's like, the earliest accounts of Europeans encountering orangutans. Some of the local peoples would tell them that orangutans were capable of speech. They just were smart enough not to, because then they would be made to work. And that's kind of the vibe some people have with trolls. It's it's like, as long as you just present as this big kind of like oafish, like force of nature, they're not going to make you do jobs. They're not going to make you pay goblin taxes.
You don't have to even participate in the capitalism that dwarves invented.
Speaking of like some of the weirder qualities. So trogs are flesh and bone. They're creatures like anything else. But their regeneration, this is a split from like old world trolls. Their regeneration doesn't appear to be a like function of their biology so much as it appears to be like a semi-magical, not even magical, because trolls tend to be actually pretty resistant to magic, which I think is interesting. It's almost a like metaphysical quality to them. Okay. So we're going to get into a very weird territory real quick here, but I'm going to try and keep it like, usual? Yes, I'm going to try and keep it like structured a little bit. Trolls, Age of Sigmar trolls are so strongly that seems to be why they regenerate. Like a troll is what it is in such a like true and like powerful way that it's not that their body is like, ooh, normal healing process sped up. It's like you cut this troll, but the universe knows what it's supposed to be. And so it's going to go back to being that. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. That is weird.
Yes. Like, and we have like a bunch of weird evidence to support that. Like trogs.
The flip side, they change so dramatically if they're in a different environment.
Yes. Yeah. Because they seem to adapt, but like they're still always troll, if that makes sense.
Yes. Okay.
So like trolls appear to reproduce asexually, despite exhibiting sexual dimorphism, which we'll get into in a minute. Troll den is called a trog hole. Okay. And again, you'd think that that's just like a big dank cave that they live in. But we have descriptions in one of the like lore books for Gloomspite Gitz that anyone who tries to go into a trog hole, just like climb down there and like hang out, doesn't just find it unpleasant. Their like bodies get unmade at like the atomic level.
Oh,
it's just like
don't go in
so yeah, it's just like so pure like metaphysical like realness that you just like can't handle it if you're not a troll.
Yeah. No. Okay.
Right.
Sure.
Right. It's I have the phrase, a primordial pit of creation from which emerges trogs.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's just the primal soup, and occasionally a trog climbs out.
All right. Yeah, man.
This is like some people in the like lore communities tend to think of them almost as anti-demons is kind of where we land.
All right.
Where like a demon is a thing made of magic. They are embodiments of chaos. They can have all these vast like weird shapes and forms and whatnot because of that. Whereas trogs are, and that's part of the like trogs are innately resistant to magic. Like it's very hard to affect a troll with magic because they know what they are.
Yeah,
and they're
magic
gonna
is a
keep
thing
being
that, like,
it. Yeah,
twists and changes.
Yeah,
things from
exactly.
What they fundamentally are.
Yeah, magic is change, right? If a demon is a creature of magic, shaped by forces cosmic and arcane, constantly in flux, trogs are creatures of the real, the solid, and the indisruptible.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that very much.
right.
That's a good vibe.
They just are, and that's great. So let's talk about some troggoth varieties. This is the fun bit. I'm going to cover all the like non-model trogs, which makes them sound like unmodel citizens, which is not the case. They just literally don't have models. We have, and we're going to glance off these a little bit because we don't have a ton of info on them. We have bile, sour breath, and sulfur breath troggoths.
Okay.
All three of these originate in first edition AOS when it was a like. Hey, we're scrapping the old game, starting the new game, but you can still use most of your like models because we don't want you to all just leave.
Yeah.
And so like bile, sour breath, and sulfur breath are all like, these are old troll models from the old world who we're going to like very quickly make up lore for so that you can play them in AOS, and then we're going to discontinue those models and we're never going to reference them again.
Fascinating.
Yes.
Okay.
So sour breath and sulfur breaths are just two variations on like sulfur breaths live in like volcanic places, and so they have like hot like running in their veins, and they're fire resistant.
They just have hot running in their veins.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sour breaths are like acidic and kind of like deep jungle like kind of vibes. Or no, sorry, bile or that. Sour breaths are just like normal troll.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a sour breath. Their model was just the classic, like if you're playing Warhammer Fantasy and you want to run a troll, that's sour breaths.
Okay.
So, and the most interesting thing about them, honestly, is that like none of them had any lore since first edition, basically. Except that to this day, whenever like trolls come up and stuff, one of Games Workshop's go-to trivia questions is like, what is the most common kind of like troll in the Mortal Realms? And it's still sour breaths. Despite them not having models and not having like any lore, they are still like on a lore basis like the most common, which is interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, they're just kind of little guys. Like they have old models. Yeah,
Fascinating. I looked at my phone because I wanted to see what they look like compared to these guys that are sitting over here.
Yeah, they're a little bit smaller. They're a little bit more like squat.
Yeah.
Just a different vibe. And now we're going to get into ones that have models, starting with rock gut troggoths.
Okay.
That's Blue there holding the rock over his head.
I was really, really hoping it would be the one with the rock and the
Yep.
guts.
Rock gut troggoths inhabit mountainous or otherwise stone-covered regions. True to their name, they subsist almost entirely off of eating stone.
Of course.
Like they can eat like meat and vegetation, but they don't like it and they don't need it.
This guy lost one of his shoes.
Yeah. His shoe is a rock. Because
the shoe he has is rock. He probably ate the other one for snack.
Yep. But yeah, that diet gives them that like craggy kind of crystalline hide that makes them like very protected, which is cool. They're very tough.
On top of a statue.
He is. It's got a little dwarf face on it.
Yeah.
Pulled it off of some dwarven monument to go huck at a guy.
Yeah. That's super cool. Oh, I didn't realize it until I turned it sideways a little bit. And I was like, oh, that's not just like a boulder.
Yeah.
I like that very much.
That, the like model kit for Rocket Troggoths is one of my favorites because you can do so many, like they have so many variations on the arms and stuff. And there's like 3 different boulders you can have them holding.
Oh,
and
that's cool.
yeah, it's great. I'm a big fan.
Nice. Okay.
But yeah, like their stone diet gives them that like stony exterior. They are probably the toughest like of all trolls. In like Age of Sigmar game terms, they have a 5-up ward save, which mathematically just means that they completely ignore about 1/3 of all damage they take.
Nice.
Yeah. Very tough, and that's on top of regenerating. Just very, very tough is the big thing. Rockets also have the extremely funny quirk of being like the most capable like lithomancers in existence. Yeah, like stone mages.
Yeah.
They can fully like mold solid stone beneath their fingers as if it were water. Like, and that's just
very cool.
Just an innate quality that they all have. But most of them just do not have any ambition to do anything with that except for like carve a piece of rock out of a cliff face to throw at a guy that's making a mess.
Nice.
Or to eat, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Make it easier to grab a stone.
yes. You get occasional exceptions. Like I said, we talked before about Hysh, Realm of Light, where all the like Lumineth lives or Teclis lives and stuff. One of the effects Hysh has on people is it makes them analytical. It makes them like smarter. So trogs, especially that live on Hysh, tend to be a little bit smarter. And so we do have like some oblique lore references to like some rockets who live on Hysh who will just like practice real like stone carving and stuff and like make statues and stuff with that ability.
Nice.
It's just most of them don't care.
It's not necessary for their goals.
Pick it up to throw at a guy. And that's great. I'm a big fan of Rocket Troggoths. I think their models are great and a little bit derpy and they're just so full of character. Yeah. The other little troll that we have to talk about are fellwater trolls.
Okay.
They are swampy, like dank water trolls.
Yeah, he's a fish guy.
Yeah. They can breathe underwater. They can do where they breathe through their skin like frogs, which can be very handy. They're not as tough as rockets because they don't have that like stone diet. They mostly persist off like fish and like what other animals they can like ambush from the water. But they make up for it by smelling terrible.
Oh,
it's their main
swamp. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's their main defensive tool, which is very funny. Like I said, they're fully aquatic. They can just like live underwater for pretty much any length of time. They love like ponds and like swamps, anywhere that's kind of brackish water where they can use that like
extra cover.
Yes, exactly, because they are very much like ambush predators, very lurk heavy troggoths. They have a couple more like unique adaptations. Genuinely, like how bad they smell is like part of their defensive suite.
That makes sense.
Yeah, they don't really do it in game anymore, but for a long time that was their core thing, is that they were just harder to hit because when you got close to them, they smelled so bad. The other big thing that fellwaters are known for specifically, because fellwaters have a little bit of a garbage disposal quality to them. Like they'll eat fish or anything they can ambush, but they'll also just eat like moss or like chunks of logs or just kind of whatever comes their way.
Like in license plates.
Yep.
Caps.
100%. Big swamp goats.
You gotta cut your plastic loops that come off the soda cans.
Yes,
Make sure they don't get around
snag a troll. Yeah.
Don't want to snag a troll. It'd be real sad.
So to do that, they need to have like very potent like stomach acids to be able to like deal with all that.
Of course.
And one thing that they've developed as just like a defensive or offensive technique is they will just projectile vomit on stuff.
No!
Yeah. It's real bad.
That's very good, but
right.
oh god, no.
Right.
I do not like.
It's acidic enough that it can just like melt through steel. And so anyone trying to like, part of the reason why they're so hard to push into like a fellwater swamp is because you march up with your like regiment of knights or whatever to like drive them out so you can do whatever to this swamp. And they puke on your knights and then their armor is melted away and then they get bashed.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you want to drain these wetlands?
Right.
I don't think so.
Have you considered troll?
Have you considered troll vomit?
Yeah. Our big purple lad there.
Big fan of this big purple lad. I've been very excited to meet him.
He's great. dank hold troggoths.
Okay.
They are big. Dank's a word that comes up a lot in Git stuff that we haven't really talked about. The ultimate kind of like, it's really hard for goblins all to have any one consistent goal. But if like asked, kind of the big meta goal of all Gloomspite Gitz is to usher in what they call the Everdank. Which is basically just making it so that bad moonlight shines everywhere always.
Okay.
And that would make the world muggy and gross and fungus growing everywhere and everybody kind of crazy. And so that was what the Everdank is just the state of kind of like...
It just feels like what your college car would have felt like after
yes.
your finished bathing in there.
There's definitely an intentional like comedic element to it being called the Everdank. It's the... I was going to say this last episode and then I didn't. And so I wanted to say it at some point in this episode. I think the vibe, if you want to imagine what like Gloomspite Gitz stuff is on like a vibes like / like theme level, is they're comedy horror fae.
Ooh.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. No, that so tracks.
They
tracks.
They have all these silly things going on and the silly names and they're terrifying with the huge bugs and stuff, but like the novel Gloomspite features like when they first start figuring out that it's goblins that are like encroaching on this town, the dwarf amongst them mutters something about Goby Blackcap, which is a children's tale. Like it's literally on the level of like the scissor man for like sucking your thumb or whatever. Like, ooh, don't stay out after dark or Goby Blackcap's gonna like put mushrooms in your ears. Like, yeah.
Go back to the Scissor Man.
You don't know the Scissor Man?
No, I'm not acquainted with the Scissor. Do you know the Muffin Man?
The I don't know where the like country of origin, but the Scissor Man is a children's deterrent like cryptid who, if you suck your thumbs, he'll come and cut them off. So I'm assuming
Just
it's
seems like a
Germanic
overreaction.
I'm assuming it's like a Germanic origin because that feels very
dramatic. Vaguely Slavic. I'm gonna look up Scissor Man and probably be really upset. Scissor Man movie, you will get Edward Scissorhands. So let's look up folklore.
Yeah.
The story of the thumbsucker. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Mother warns her son Conrad not to suck his thumbs. However, she goes out of the house and he resumes thumb sucking until a roving tailor appears and cuts off his thumbs with giant scissors. Yep. You were spot on. It is German. This particular story published in 1845.
There's just a lot of German fairy tales that are like, don't do bad thing, young child, or owls will take your eyeballs. Death. Yeah. But yeah, so you get we get the sense that like in the realms, it's a common enough thing that like parents will use to like scare children. Like don't stay out late, don't cause mischief, or Goby Blackcap will come put mushrooms in your ears or take all your treats in the night or that kind of thing. To the point that when like in that novel, when that dwarf says Goby Blackcap, one of the other characters is like, don't bring like kid stories into this. Like Goby Blackcap's not a real thing. Because like, yeah, goblins are a little bit unknown if you're not like constantly encountering them. They're secretive enough generally that
I guess I don't understand what it would be like to actually live in this world and be like telling the dwarf that lives in your town, goblins aren't real.
It varies a lot. It's kind of a I think, gosh, I don't remember
anyone. I don't know. The fish elves that want to steal your soul beg to fucking differ.
It's the Avatar thing, right? Where the first episode of Avatar, Katara says, "Don't be like silly. Magic's not real. It's bending." So even in a fantastical world, there are things that like
don't be
stretch.
Ridiculous. Goblins don't exist.
Yeah. Or even if goblins don't exist, like they're not this like organized like fairy tale like thing that's gonna like come out of your floorboards or whatever.
No, that's Skaven.
Yeah. Skaven are also around. Skaven are in the current like lore. Skaven have had like a huge resurgence, and in like almost every single like lore thing that's come out since that happened, there is like a side note about how Skaven and Gitz are fighting like World War 12, like the absolute bloodiest conflict that the world has ever known, completely beneath the ground where like no one else could see it. Like
I guess if that's what y'all want to do with your time.
Yeah, well, it's because Skaven started pushing into Gitz territory, and I'm
y'all
not
can't
biased.
Do that.
Yeah,
You can't do that. Fucking get your own territory.
right. Mostly they push into Gitz territory, and then they die because they don't know what mushrooms are safe to eat.
But don't do that. Then find somewhere. Why would
Right.
you want to go where the mushrooms aren't safe to eat? I don't even like mushrooms.
There's a I can't remember like what it's called now, but there's a short story featuring like a Slaneshi cult that's trying to like drive goblins out from underneath their like fortress, and they go down into their tunnels, and they can't help but because like excess experience, etc. There's like Slaneshi. I was gonna Slaneshi cultists can't help but just like eat the mushrooms that they come across.
And just really hope they're psychedelics.
Yeah, well, they are psychedelics, but they just have like the most absolutely nightmarish like bad trip you can imagine.
Trip.
Yeah,
someone get the orange slices. Just come here, strip
yeah.
the wall. You'll be fine.
Well, the other Slaneshi cultists aren't the people who find them. The goblins find them while they're on that horrible bad trip, and it's a whole thing.
Sucks to be you.
Yep.
Get your Slaneshi cultists, so I don't feel that bad.
Yeah, no. Dankhold troggoths have a fascinating quirk where they have a fascinating quirk where they, like goldfish, grow or shrink to match their like enclosure.
Okay. Like as in compared to a goldfish, not like as in they just like goldfish.
No,
like,
no.
As in compared to sentence, and I thought that was the period. Like my brain was like, they just like goldfish.
They probably
like,
also like goldfish. Yeah.
No, they grow. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Goldfish will shrink.
Yeah. If you put goldfish in a bowl that's too small, they'll like shrink down a little bit. It's not like dramatic, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Dankholds will do that as well. Like that's probably about the average size for a Dankhold, but we have I don't have him in my notes because he's like very, very minor character, but there's a Dankhold Troggoth named Molag. Who's no, he's just small. His like tunnel partially collapsed while he was sleeping, and his body just like shrunk to better fit the environment. So he's like a little bitty Dankhold Troggoth, which is very funny.
Oh, that's delightful.
I'm a big fan. We have examples of really big Troggoths because they just fell asleep in a big cave and like grew to match their environment. Dankholds mostly just kind of want to sleep. Like they're the most.
Me too, man.
Yeah, they're the most like generally, and like Dankholds can sleep forever. Like there are definitely Dankholds who have been asleep like since the age of myth, just because nothing has like bothered them.
Wow.
Just hanging out. But Dankholds are also, because of their propensity for very long lives and because of some quirk of their biology, they're also the most attuned to the realms that they live within.
Oh.
So they tend to take on aspects of the magic of the realms that they live within. Again, we don't have models, Games Workshop, but
together.
Right. But we have descriptions and lore of like Dankhold Troggoths of Ulgu who can fully submerge themselves in shadow, right? So you have this 14-foot tall like troll who can just completely like emerge from a shadow on the ground,
so
right?
cool.
It's very good. We have Troggoths of Akshi whose veins are filled with fire and can like wade through lava streams.
That's very
like,
cool.
It's very good. Shamanish Dankholds who have these like huge metal like just like protrusions growing out of their skin and like crazy stuff that I would love to see modeled, but I'm sure it's just a opportunity for interesting modeling for players. Just make your own Dankhold Troggoth with metal protrusions. Some Dankholds, because Dankholds are most likely to live the longest, Dankholds who gain like a propensity for like directing other Troggoths come to be known as Trog bosses.
Nice.
And and there's not like a ton of finesse to leading trogs. Generally, it's just that you're very loud and also a trog. Unless the wizards to be believed in, it's all an act. In which case, maybe the trogs just only like listening to other trogs because no one else is on their level.
Yeah.
But yeah, the bosses are generally seem to be portrayed that they're just like on the level of like what is going to motivate trogs better than, because usually when like when goblins fight alongside trogs, usually the strategy is just like we're gonna let the trogs do whatever over there and we're gonna go somewhere else.
Will not
and
be
like
in their way.
No, exactly. And then our last like normal variety of trog, because the real big guy there in the back is a named character, so we're going to talk about him in our famous faces.
Right,
yeah.
cool.
The last like major variety are Troggoth hags. Those are.
Well, she's got a bob.
Yeah.
Got a bob going on. Love it for her.
Yeah,
Okay.
she is a hag in the like witchy sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like these are the kinds of trogs that can do magic.
Nice.
They're
This
in.
whole ass tree is her magic wand?
Yep.
Nice.
Troggoth hags are in a little bit of like a weird lore limbo
Uh-huh.
because like officially their model has been discontinued
Oh.
and has been for a while now. So like they don't have a model. They can't be really like played in game anymore. But they still appear in like lore material.
Why?
Like relatively recently. I think my conspiracy brain is that they're gonna bring them back at some point, and so they want to keep that like door open.
Yeah, I feel like if you're going to mention them in new lore stuff.
Right, and they got to be coming back
weird
eventually.
yeah.
In gameplay terms, it would give like all troll armies like a native wizard, where you wouldn't have to bring like a goblin to have a wizard access. But for right now, they're just
So you can't play this gal.
no. Well, she's actually she's not on her like old correct base size. I put her on a smaller base so that if I do want to play her, I can just play her as a dank old troggoth. She's on the same
okay.
base as Thrak there. Yeah.
Wait. Do the bases indicate what they do?
Yeah,
What?
bases have gameplay purpose.
What?
Yeah, Age of Sigmar isn't played on like a grid or anything. There's not like spaces on a board.
Yeah.
And so like a model that has a bigger base is going to be able to, like, if she had an ability that's like, okay, all trolls within 10 inches of her do a thing, then her being on a bigger base is significant for that because it means that she gets a bigger area that she covers for 10 inches away, right? And Dankhold Trog bosses in game do have abilities like that, where it's like, oh, all Trogs within 12 inches of this guy get an extra attack.
And it's
'cause
based
he's-
off of the circle. It's like within the edge of the base, not the edge of like the actual model.
Yes, it is. You measure from the edge of the base. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so being on the right base size is generally the main, because like people like to, it's called proxying when you play like one model is another model. So like that's technically what she is right now, is she's a proxy for a Dankhold because she's the wrong model. But yeah, people like to proxy all the time, and generally for gameplay reasons, the main consideration is base size, because like it would be like if you had like a really big high damage melee piece, it could be like beneficial to put them on a very small base, so it's easier for them to like hide in like alleyways and hallways and stuff. It's hard to get to them. Or like if you had something that's really good at handing out buffs that's normally on a tiny base, it'd be advantageous to put them on a huge base so that their buffs like go further and stuff. But yeah, a little bit of
That's interesting.
AOS knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah, AOS game knowledge
Would
there.
it, if they reintroduced the hag and you were able to play it, would it be difficult for you to swap her back to a different base?
No, not at all. I still have her old base.
Nice. You're just
And
waiting
they
for
might,
the day.
yeah, they might put her on a different base size even then, just because for balance reasons or whatever. Because she used to be on a huge base.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. So
She's neat.
yeah, Troggoth hags generally commune with Hysh, so they have this like weird thing where they're like witchy, but they're also a little bit like they don't necromance. It seems like it's not possible to necromance like troll remains. Again, see that like they know what they are too strongly.
Yeah.
But she seems to be able to commune with like troll souls and stuff to like help guide them to their proper afterlife, or to like, you know, throw the bones and do some,
That's rad as hell.
yeah, do some future reading and stuff. So again, it's that like intelligence thing where like Troggoth hags are definitely above average for trolls just because they're able to do magic, but also they're like, yeah, they're doing prophecy and like communing with spirits and stuff. And like, that's cool. I really want her to get like reintroduced to the game so I could play her again. Yeah. So I used to play her a lot in like early 3rd edition because it's cool having a troll wizard in my list.
Yeah.
Usually the downside to having a wizard is that they can do magic and they die if a strong breeze comes past them. But she's a troll, so she's big and tough, and that doesn't happen to her.
Is that why you think the character, or the I guess the class type got phased out? Is because is wizard butt too bulky?
I don't think so.
Beefy?
Her main sin for getting removed from the game was that her model was ancient, and so yeah, they don't. That's the this actually isn't an official Games Workshop Troggoth hag. It's one that my buddy 3D printed for me.
Oh, that's why she's made of resin.
Yes, but the old one was also made of resin back from the days when originally she was made of metal, because that's the GW started with metal miniatures, and so her sculpt was ancient and looked kind of bad. bad, and so they definitely just wanted to remove it from the game. So there wasn't a like. Games Workshop has financial reasons for not wanting to incentivize people to buy like bad looking old models just because they're good for game reasons, right?
So if they were to introduce, would you be able to continue to use this model on the correct base, or would it be like considered frowned upon?
Generally, the rule is like fan run tournaments and stuff tend to be pretty chill with all that kind of stuff. I couldn't use her in like an official Games Workshop establishment is generally the rule. Games Workshop plastic is the rule. Games Workshop plastic and or resin, because they do still sell some resin miniatures.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah, usually older stuff, because plastic injection mold is very different from a resin mold for like miniature production. So
yeah, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, she's the only. She's not an official Games Workshop resin, but she's the only resin model. Cool. No, that's not true. I've got some old resin orcs as well. Back from when they could be played. But that's...
Is it vexing? Wait, sorry.
No,
I know
please.
I keep asking a lot of game
I love
mechanic stuff that we usually don't get into, but like this is the thing you actually do, so I feel like that's also a reason why I'm like wanting to ask these more questions. Is it vexing as a player to when that's like, oh, you can't do this anymore because it's not in the rules?
Yes. Yeah, that's one of the... I would say there's a lot of reasons why I really, really like this hobby and I really, really like this game. And one of the big things that makes me frustrated is when stuff like that happens. When they say, okay, this model is too old, so we're going to pull it. And that means that like we're phasing out its rules. Like you get X amount of more time where they'll be like semi-legal, and then we'll leave them up, but they won't be like legal for tournament play anymore. But like, for all intents and purposes, this is being removed from the game. And like, I'm new enough into the hobby. I got into it in 2020. That is not a thing I've run into
is this your
much.
pandemic hobby?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yes.
Well, continue on.
Yeah. So that's not a situation that I have run into like too terribly much.
Yeah.
Like I said, Troggoth Hag there is an example, but again, she's not like a genuine Games Workshop miniature. So even that was like not a thing where I went out and bought like a genuine Troggoth.
Betrayal. Yeah. Okay.
But there's definitely been, like, I know there are people who maybe had huge chunks of their like army or their even their whole army get caught in the like blast radius or something like that, where just when they bought these models they were newer and looked fine, but now it's been 15 years. Like maybe they were some of their old like Warhammer Fantasy models, and Games Workshop doesn't want to sell them anymore because they have a reputation to uphold as like really high quality like model makers.
Oh, is that also it? Like when they look bad because they've gotten better.
Yeah. Yes. That's usually it's usually like a matter of like the models have improved, and Games Workshop doesn't want something that looks really new and flashy and nice on the shelf next to something that looks like it was made in 2001, which some models do, because they were. But sometimes it's also like a changing cultural thing. I've kind of danced around it, but people who are familiar with the old Troggoth Hag model, probably the main reason the old Troggoth Hag model got cut is because mine's more dressed than the official one is.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
And it is like, she's not a pinup catalog by any means. It's meant to be like a monstrous mother kind of trope. But like, she's definitely like mostly nude in her original Games Workshop official model. And so like, that's also part of it.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I can see I would like her a lot less.
Yeah. Yep.
Because I was like, oh, she's got like this like saggy top going on, and I'm like, I love her fashion taste.
Yeah.
I'm so into it. So instantly looking at the original like actual model, I'm like, hey, this one kind of sucks that she's not just wearing a top, and not because oh no boobs or oh no saggy boobs. Right. It's just weird.
Yes.
Anytime the lady model doesn't get to wear a top. Yeah. Regardless of her state of boobage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
interesting.
And that represents like a shift. And here's the real kicker is that like mine, the 3D printed one, the model that the 3D print is based off of is actually like the newer Troggoth hag model from like some of the video games set in the old world. And so like that is like an official Games Workshop design of what she would look like if she came back in the modern day.
Okay.
Is the one that I have. It's just that, yeah, the old one was made under a very different like sensibility of like, we're going to have this, what is meant to sell like kind of gross like vibe is the idea.
Right. It is also weird for trolls aren't mammals.
No.
So it's weird for her to have breasts like in general.
Yeah, that's part of the
to communicate hag.
Yeah. That's part of the
And her little Bob is doing that just fine.
Yeah, she's great. That's part of the, like I said, the weird sexual dimorphism, despite them like very clearly not having that be a thing that they should have. Yeah. Again, it's part of why I think the original model was retired, and we'll maybe get it back at some point in like a very different form, right?
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, you don't have to breast are for feeding young mammals.
Right.
If you do not have a species that has young that needs to be fed because they just climb out of holes, it sounds like fully formed as troll.
Yeah,
for
pretty
what
much.
Is.
You do have trogloths. We have troglodyte is the term for a baby troll. That's what they emerge as. We're not talking about them yet, but the huge troll in the back there has a troglodyte in his antlers.
Do they? But they're not mammals. So
No.
they drink. Do they need milk? Who takes care of the troglodytes?
They just eat whatever. They just like forage eat.
Okay, so you don't need breasts.
No, yeah. They're a little Grogu. Basically, they just kind of eat whatever they can put in their mouths.
I love them.
Yeah, they're great.
Okay. We can move on now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, it's a good question. And it's a thing that's happened with like other, like I said, sometimes whole armies get taken out of the game just because they're entirely made of old models and it'd be a decades-long project to try and like refurbish the whole thing. That happened recently to Beasts of Chaos. The Dawn of 4th Edition. Beasts of Chaos got removed from the game because they were all old not resin, but they were old plastic sculpts, and they didn't really fit into a lot of the like vibe and aesthetic and stuff. And we'll probably get them back at some point because there's a bunch of lore stuff hinting at them undergoing some kind of like chaotic grand rebirth, right?
Because it also... Would it be incorrect to say it's also just like the capitalist incentive of like encouraging players to constantly be buying new models?
It's 100% that. Yeah.
Like you can't just like, I have my army and I'm very happy with it and I'm just gonna leave it like this forever because there's a really good chance that 5 years down the road maybe you can't play half of it anymore.
Yeah. There's definitely a little bit. I think people tend to ascribe more of that than I think is real. Like a lot of people like to say like, oh, this is Games Workshop's grand scheme to make us all have to buy like a bajillion models. And I don't think that's quite true. Like if they push that too hard, just no one would play their game. Yeah, exactly.
They don't actively make the battery stop working to force you to buy the new iPhone. It's just eventually they're going to stop letting the rules for your guy be the rules for the guy.
Yeah. Or they'll update it to a newer sculpt, which is what I would argue happens more often.
Okay.
So like orcs, one of the clans of orcs, Ironjaws, the like big armored ones, they're like basic foot troop, hard boys, an old model that was the like old fantasy like elite orc troop, and it's old. It shows its age. It's got real bulky kind of like geometric like armor and stuff, and it's still like a pretty good model. But I think like 2 years ago they came out with a brand new like Ardboy sculpt that's like very top of the line, like very detailed, very dynamic poses and stuff. And in situations like that, I still play my old like Ardboys, and I'll mix them together because I think that's interesting. You can tell a little bit of a narrative there of like, oh, here's the new recruits learning from the old old guys refusing to give up their cube-shaped armor.
So, but when a newer version of a model is released, that doesn't necessarily mean you are not allowed to play the older version of the model.
It's explicitly the opposite. As long as it's GW plastic, it's good. Yeah.
As long as the rules are still in the game.
Yes.
So the Hag Witch rules, Hag Troth rules, Troggoth rules are not in the game. So even if you had the one that's the actual GW plastic, you couldn't play her. She's not in the game anymore.
Yeah.
But these guys, even though they're older, they are still in the game.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter that there's a newer model. It's fine. They're still playable.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah, and like I said, you can always. Some people I know with like Beasts of Chaos armies have just started playing them as like Warriors of Chaos armies, where you already have your like unarmored like tribesmen in like a Warriors of Chaos army who are your like foot skirmishers and stuff, and you just swap in Beastmen for them instead. And now it's like a fun lore thing where it's like, oh, this faction of the Warriors of Chaos use Beastmen for their like scout infantry instead of like normal humans.
Okay.
And like that's
and
cool.
So you can take a figure you have, and even though like the Beast of Chaos is no longer in the game, you can still use that if you were using like this is just representing
comparable. Yeah.
Comparable.
Yeah, is the idea. Like you probably couldn't play them as like dwarves, but even then, like maybe base size is the important
You're just
part.
basically like doing a reskin of an existing rule type onto these figures.
Yeah.
Okay.
100%. But yeah, the last like big Gitz thing, the last big Gitz group we're going to talk about before we get to our famous faces are Gitmob. These are our wolf riding sun goblins.
That's very cool.
Yes, I am a big fan. So Gloomspite call Hysh, they call the sun Glareface Frazzle Git.
Great.
Good name. Yep.
No mad. No notes.
They don't like him because he makes their skin hurt. They have sun sensitivity.
Let's get some SPF up in here, babe. Scun protection. You need to use some scun protection. Get some skin care going on.
Most goblins deal with that by living underground, like only coming out in the dark. Gitmob decided they were going to try and like tough it out.
Okay.
So they moved to Hysh, and they live on the sun.
Excellent.
To show it how cool they are.
I love that for them.
So yeah, rather than cower with it, they move to Hysh. They try and like inure themselves against it. Yeah.
How do you go about moving realms?
Realm gates. The huge portals that connect.
Do they have
the
to
realms.
fill out paperwork?
No, they just go.
They just go. Like
a lot of realm gates are well guarded. The main tribe of Gitmob actually have their own realm gates that links Akshi to Hysh, and that's like where they crossed over originally. And a lot of this also happened like during the Age of Myth and stuff, where like realm gates were less well guarded, and
you could just kind of do that.
Yeah, you just do whatever.
Okay.
Yeah. But
you
like,
didn't need any paperwork or path.
No.
You need to fill out any forms about we're going to move to Hysh.
Yeah, if you're doing it,
pleasure.
If you're doing it officially, like if you're doing it through like a realm gate that like Sigmar controls, then yes, absolutely.
There's so much paperwork and bureaucracy. He's the god of civilization.
Yep. But no, there's still plenty of realm gates that aren't under the control of anybody in particular, just usually because they don't lead anywhere important. Like you don't put a toll on a road that leads to nowhere. And then, yeah, there's like the big realm gate in Akshi that leads to Hysh that like the biggest tribe of Gitmob like has control over, which is interesting. Once they get to Hysh, like they live there for a little bit, it makes them like a little bit bigger, a little bit like tougher than other Gits because they're like being more physically active and they're like enduring the like light. And they very quickly make allegiance with Snarlfangs, which are what those wolves are called.
Nice.
Yeah, they're wolves, but they're weird. Like Snarlfangs are venomous.
Yes, good.
Yeah,
wonderful.
They're venomous. They are dubiously intelligent is how I have it in my notes.
Okay.
There's like a bunch of stuff that points to Snarlfangs being able to like reason and like do like complex problem solving and stuff, and then a lot of stuff that points to Snarlfangs just being wolves. And so like it's unclear how much of what one's which.
Okay.
But they make like an allegiance / like tame / start working with these huge wolves. They develop this kind of like nomadic raiding culture, and their main goal is that they want to steal as much like shiny like metal and stone and stuff as they can, because Gitmob magic revolves entirely around making stuff light absorbent. Because they want to make so much stuff so light absorbent that they eventually steal all of the light of Hysh and make it go dark.
Okay.
Which, would that work? Who's to say? Yeah.
Who's to say? Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so that leads to, if you see on their models, they have a lot of like little like, they'll have like big flat panels of metal or metal
Yeah.
they've carved into like sun visages and stuff.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of things that they enchant to like capture and store sunlight.
Interesting.
And usually they're pretty volatile. Like goblins
Yeah.
are better at magic than a lot of like their cohorts, but they're still not great at magic. So like a lot of the time, a solid smack to one of those like light capturing plates will just make it discharge all the sunlight it's captured and fry everything near it.
Nice. Okay.
And sometimes that's accidental, sometimes that's intentional.
Sometimes it's a bug, sometimes it's a feature.
Yep. But it means that when Gitmob are like out raiding and out stealing stuff and whatnot, they're evaluating it entirely by how like shiny it is, how easy it is for it to capture like sunlight.
For sure. Okay, that makes sense.
Which leads to a very funny, they live in these like they still live in caves because they do have to get out of the sun occasionally, and like the wolves want to live in caves, but they tend to live like closer to the surface. And it's like an open secret that like if you have the guts for it, raiding a Gitmob cave is very likely to get you just like absolutely spectacular treasures that the Gitmob have no like protection for because they don't value them at all. I'm like you finding like a extremely powerful wizard staff that they've just like thrown into a corner somewhere because it doesn't reflect sunlight.
They're not looking for that. It's not, this is not useful to them. Toss it away.
Absolutely. So Gitmobs still worship the bad moon, like all goblins do. It's just that they've approached it from a direction of. There's a really good quote in the most recent like lore book for Gitz that I like, where it talks about like when you have like a human tribe that paints like visages of like demons on their shields.
Yeah,
it's not because they like demons. It's not because they worship demons. It's because they want to present something like fierce and intimidating to their foe. And so Gitmob put the sun on all their stuff, not because they like the sun. They hate the sun, but the sun is the thing bullying their god. And to them, that's like, wow, what an incredible like foe.
That's that's very good.
Right? But Gitmob don't have. We talked about Gobapalooza last time. The like the poison guy and the brew guy and the guy riding the mushroom and stuff. Gobapalooza don't tend to have typical, or Gitmob don't tend to have typical palooza. Instead, Gitmob no watts is the collective term for what the palooza does. It's the palooza no watts.
Okay.
Gitmob no watts specialize in like mechanical engineering. It is a huge status symbol to have the biggest and most impressive war wheeler is what those are called.
Nice.
And so they create these crazy like ramshackle contraptions like Rube Goldberg like chariots and like
they're pretty rad.
Right.
They're rad as hell.
Huge fan. The most impressive of all Gitmob inventions is the Doom Diver catapult. Okay. Which is just a massive catapult hauled by like a beast of burden. Where in the last episode we talked about fanatics, like goblins that you hop up on goblin PCP and push out to fight the enemy, and that's the height of their life because they're striking foes down 10 times their size with their balls and chains, right? Doom Diver catapults are the same thing, except that you load them up on goblin PCP and you strap a bunch of those like sun storing pieces of metal to their body, and then you give them big like flappy wings, and then you launch them out of a catapult at the enemy, and they like glide their wings into the enemy. Glide their wings into the enemy, and then they hit the ground hard, and all of those sunlight capturing chunks of metal go off.
That's spectacular.
It's. I mean, if you're a goblin, it's about as good as it gets. But yeah, we've got a bunch of different Gitmob there. Most Gitmob are some variation on goblin riding a wolf. So like we have Snarlfang Riders, which is the guy with the flag there. Who's base coated white. That's just your basic like goblin riding a wolf.
Very cool.
They tend to be like harass troops. They carry bows as well as their like spears, so they'll like plunk a couple arrows at a guy and then run away on their wolves. We have, I can't remember what they're called, but they're the bigger, real big Snarlfangs instead of just like training them to be special mounts for like a special goblin. They just stick 2 goblins on them, which is very funny. Yeah. They tend to be more, like, bigger snarlfangs tend to be a little bit more territorial. They're actually pretty good
not
at...
toe beans.
Yeah. They're actually pretty good at, like, fighting for and controlling, like, objectives and stuff.
Nice.
And so they're more your, like, shock troops. Your Sunstealo Wheelas is the little cat or little chariot there.
Ooh, Sunstealo Wheel is very good.
Yep, they're the most loaded up with, those, like, sun capturing pieces of metal and stuff. Yeah, pulled by your 2 different snarlfangs at once. Good at harass, good at the reason chariots exist in real life and also in, like, game terms is that they can hit, like, a line of enemies and just, like, smash all the way through and go out the other side.
I like how this one is like you're the way you have your model is shifted. So one of the wheels is on the ground, but it's like they're in a big dramatic turn, and so one wheel is like up in the air. It's very dynamic.
It's good. It's a good model. I'm a big fan. I already mentioned Doomdiver catapults. You'll get Gitmob bosses on, like, big chariots. And then I did want to special mention to Frazzlegit shamans, which is our guy on the big chariot there, who's riding the, like, huge wolf skull. Frazzlegit shamans, instead of practicing the normal, like, moon and, like, dank magics of goblins, do practice a form of magic about, like, channeling the sun.
Nice.
And
praise the sun.
And I just think it's so, like, we don't have a ton of lore about them, but they have a game effect that I think is so funny that it bears mentioning, which is that they draw so much light to themselves that it just lights them up like a beacon, like, at all times. But it physically pulls the light out of the space around them. So, like, in game terms, other units close to them can't be, like, seen by ranged attacks.
Ooh.
Because they've pulled all of the light out of the, like, space around them. Yeah.
That's really
so
rad.
They're just this,
that's
like,
wild
big ball of shadow with this, like, sun bright goblin on top of that, like, chariot riding around, which rips. I'm a huge fan.
That's very cool. May I ask a question about your minis here?
Of course.
Did these guys recently join your
They
army?
did. They did for the...
Dear listener, I asked because they're not painted.
Yes, yeah.
So I was
curious
as to if this was a new addition, and that is why, or if there was not often. I was just curious as to the the method.
Yep. Gloomspite Gitz is my main army. I have pretty much all of my stuff painted, but the Gitmob stuff was a recent addition. They've been in lore for a long time, but they only recently got models, which is very cool. I've been hoping for them for a while because I think they're neat.
Yeah. This is wild to have, like, so some of the goblins ride wolves.
Yep.
Can I play those? No, we haven't made models for the goblins that ride wolves.
Right. They're around. They're in lore, but they're not
but you can't
here
actually
yet.
have one.
Yep.
It's like you said it was a goblin that rides a wolf. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess. Thanks for telling me, I guess.
And then the last thing we're going to talk about in today's episode are our famous faces. We're finally getting to our
everybody's favorite segment.
Yeah, Gitz famous faces, including probably my favorite character in Age of Sigmar. He's in a dead heat with Gardas Steelsoul. He's dead heat with Gardas for opposite reasons. But we'll get to him last. I'm saving him for last because he's my favorite. Okay. But we're going to start with Trugg the Troggoth King, who is our huge orange Troggoth there. Yep. He's a little lopsided, so be careful. Yep. He's a little bit heavier, so be careful. Ooh. Yeah, his antlers catch on stuff pretty easily.
He's got antlers, gang.
Yeah. So Trugg the Troggoth King. So Trugg is a Dankhold Troggoth, so he's the same kind as Thrak there. But he was asleep in a big cave for a long time. How long was he asleep in that big cave? Since at least the Age of Myth. And we know that because in the Age of Myth, someone came along and accidentally built a big portal on his back.
Yeah, as I said, this gentleman has a rainbow stargate on his back.
So Trugg, I'm talking about Trugg first because while I love his model and I like playing him in game and I think he's got, like, a cool design, his lore is basically nothing. We don't know almost anything about Trugg, or rather, we know stuff about Trugg, but he's just kind of boring, which hurts me to say because I love Troggs. Troggs are my favorite. But
he's got, like, pictographs on him.
Right. And we don't know anything about that, which is crazy. Like, we know stuff about that.
Pictographs on them.
We know stuff about that, but none of it's interesting. Like, I think I have a light conspiracy theory that I think
Okay.
Trugg was supposed to have different, more interesting lore, and then he was suffered some kind of rewrite to align him better with like a different story that was going on, basically, because he was one of the main antagonists in like a big event that happened near the end of third edition called the Dawnbringer Crusades. And it reduced him a little bit to just so. Okay, let's talk about Trugg before I get into my issues
Yeah,
with
yeah.
him.
Tell us his canon stuff,
Yeah.
and then we'll get into it.
Trugg's been asleep for a long, long time. He gets found by a goblin named Braggett Bottlesnatcha, who, true to his name, wants to like basically cause raids on human cities to collect
steal
bottles.
We
Yeah,
talked
to
about
steal
him,
bottles.
yeah.
Yep. Braggett's around. Braggett finds Trugg. He's the biggest Trogg he's ever seen.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm going to wake this dude up and I'm going to point him at a city and I'm going to like cause mayhem.
Okay.
And he does that, and he is shocked that, like Trugg is, because he thought Trugg was big. Trugg is much bigger than he thought he was, and he can't control him.
No.
So
Yeah.
Trugg, we get some stuff from Trugg's perspective. That like portal built into his back seems to have like seeped into his mind a little bit. It has connected him to all the ley lines of the realms.
Oh.
And that could be interesting, but it's not. It just gives Trugg a headache. And so he goes, his whole thing is that he goes from like nexus of power to nexus of power, places where the ley lines like intersect, and like destroys whatever's there, trying to like quell his headache.
God, just get this man some Midol.
Right. But like, that's all we've got. Like that's Trugg's whole motivation is that he just goes places and
Really
smashes
needs an ice
stuff.
pack
Yeah,
and
like
lie down somewhere dark and cool for a while. He
Yeah.
just has a really bad migraine.
like I said, everything cool about Trugg is things that like happened to him. So like he was asleep on Gairan, which is why he has antlers.
I was going to ask about
yeah.
the antlers. The antlers are very... No one else
No.
here has antlers. The antlers are very cool.
So we get a little bit of
Skyrim.
that, like, yeah, because like other Gyranian dank holds will have antlers as well, because like connection to nature.
Yeah.
So Trugg has them. He's one of our few examples of like a Gyranian dank hold, because he was
he's
just
also got,
asleep
like,
on Gyran
vines
for too
coming up around
long.
this
Yeah,
portal.
he's got a troglet chilling on his antlers,
I do like
which
that
is
very
fun. Is very
much.
good. His big, like I said, someone built that portal on his back, and he doesn't really know how to work it, but he has like intuited that if he smacks it, it turns it on, which is
even though it's
very
broken?
fun. Yeah, it can't connect to all the realms. Specifically, the rune of Azir is missing,
Yeah.
which makes me think that like
I think someone broke that bad boy off.
I was gonna say a Stormcast maybe came by and broke it off,
I was like,
because
what the fuck is
Azir's
that? No.
Azir's the one realm like chaos can't get into. Like there's
Yeah.
just no
Like, we
ways
just can't
in.
have
Yeah,
that.
exactly. And so he has a fun gameplay effect, which is where on your turn you can have him smack the portal and it will connect to a random realm, and it gives him and all the trolls near him a buff based on that realm.
That is really neat.
Yeah. Like if it connects to Hysh, it makes them all smarter, and it makes it so you don't spend command points if you use commands on him or the trolls, because they're too clever. They figured it out. If it connects to Olgu, it makes it so they can't be shot by ranged attacks because it cloaks them in shadow.
That is really cool.
Right. If it connects to Gairan, it gives them extra attacks because they go like vicious and like feral.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's interesting stuff, but like Trugg as a character just isn't anything. He just
Yeah.
wanders places and smashes stuff. And like, yeah, I guess that's kind of like what trolls are, but I wanted him to be more. He's like,
Got a lot of cool stuff going on.
yeah, he's the most ancient dankhold we know of. You'd hope that he's like clever and like knows things and has like motivations. Like, tell me about this troll who remembers when the world was young.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and no, he just wants to go places and smash things.
Because he has a bad headache.
Yes. And like,
And that's not even good motivation. It'd be different if he just like he smashes things because he doesn't like how the world
Right,
has changed. Fine,
right.
not great motivation, but more interesting than just bad headache because portal on back.
right. I was gonna say, and that's the, like I said, that's why I think he might have been like victim of a rewrite, because like the runes carved into his skin,
Yeah.
those were carved by people who found him sleeping.
Yeah.
And like that in itself is interesting, because the portal was explicitly built on accident. They didn't know they built a portal on top of a sleeping troll.
Yeah.
But the runes are people who found him like buried and sleeping and like worshipped him as an idol, like carved these like symbols of like bring prosperity to like our crops and our villages
Yeah,
and stuff
there's, like,
into.
sun. There's like some sort of like horned, like looks like a deer.
Yeah. Like, and my thought is that I think maybe what they were setting up to be was some kind of like resurgent god beast. We've talked about like how all these god beasts exist, and a lot of times when one dies, something else will like move into its place to replace it because it's like cosmically important. I like the idea that Trugg is like some kind of ancient god beast, and his presence just like hasn't been felt in the world because he's been asleep. And so in waking him up, that's like a huge status quo shift where maybe he can be like the ancient progenitor god beast of Troggs, and like with him awake, they get a little bit more like maybe that reopens whatever, like if there is the like bad moon as a spaceship theory, maybe that like lights up Troggs' brains again, and they're like coordinated now, and they like know what's going on. And we just didn't get any of that. We just got he's a big dumb Trogg who wants to go back to sleep and he can't because he's got a headache, and that's more boring. Like I don't dislike Trugg. There are certainly characters I like less. It just stings a little bit because I really like Troggs in general.
Yeah.
And our first big named character for them is just kind of nothing.
He's kind of just the most basic idea of troll is big angry smash thing.
Yeah, he's very cool. I like his model, and he's fun to play in game. But yeah, I was hoping for more of a character.
Okay.
There's a people are going to be mad if I don't mention him. We're not an old world podcast, but there's a troll in the old world who was smart. That was his thing. And that's why I was hoping we would get like an homage to that as our first like big named troll character in AOS. That was Throg. And he was also the Troggoth king in the old world. Throg the Troggoth king. And his thing was that he was born smart. Like he just wasn't dull. He was like born kind of like a super genius for a Trogg or for a troll in the old world. And that was his whole conniption, is like because he ended up being a follower of chaos, and it was because he wanted to use the power that the chaos gods gave him to like elevate his people. He saw how they got treated as like pests and like things to drive out of like crops and stuff by like the empire and whatnot. It's just like, no, I refuse to let this be like our fate forever. Like I want better for us, and I'm gonna turn to dark powers to do that, and it's ultimately gonna undo
that's
me.
Way more interesting.
Right,
So in comparison,
right.
this is a huge letdown.
Right. And like he can never come back because his soul got torn apart by chaos.
Yeah,
but
that'll happen.
yeah,
That'll happen.
he killed Sigvald in the old world. So our perfect Slaneshi boy. Yeah. They got into a fight, and Throg smashed him to pieces. And the chaos gods Slanesh tore his soul apart over that because Slanesh likes Sigvald. Anyways, not the point. Not the point of this episode.
Okay.
But yeah, so Trugg's fine. I just wish he had been
Just
more.
aggressively fine. But
Yeah.
could be better.
A character I do quite like is Drogs the Sun Chomper.
Ooh, I wonder
So that's
if
our
this
yep,
big
that's
old
our
wolf guy with
our
the sun.
yeah, that's our Gitmob representative. Drogs the Sun Chomper is
Wolf
the
has a cool scar across their
right.
eye.
Drogs is the goblin. The Snarlfang is named Jagged Snarl. And they are a team.
Nice.
We talked about the kind of dubious intelligence of Snarlfangs previously. Jagged Snarl is the exception. He is smart. He is smarter than most people. He is like hyper intelligent. Yeah. And my favorite thing about Drogs and Jagged Snarl is that of the two of them, Jagged Snarl is the one making decisions.
Yeah, makes sense.
In fact, Jagged Snarl is so much the one making decisions that this isn't the first Drogs.
Oh, interesting.
It's a very Dread Captain Roberts situation where Drogs the Sunchompa has led the biggest like Gitmob tribe for centuries, which is a lot longer than goblins normally live. And everyone's like, wow, Drogs has lived a long time. And it's like, dang, he must just be really long lived. But in reality, like there have been dozens of Drogs. Whenever Drogs dies, Jagged Snarl just goes to a goblin he thinks has the like commanding presence and
moxie,
enough like cleverness.
I see great potential in ya.
And he just basically like hefts him onto his back and it's like, you're Drogs now.
Yeah. Sure. That sounds like it's worked so far.
Yeah. They've had great success like leading the Gitmob clans. Jagged Snarl shares like the rest of the Gitmob's compulsion to like try and make Hysh go dark by stealing all of its sunlight. Because Snarlfangs don't like the sun either. And to that end, We don't have like a ton of info about them yet because they're very new. We only just learned about Drogs with this like release of models and stuff. But they have some cool other stuff going on. Like you mentioned the big like sun metal thing on his back. It's actually like a wicker weave if you like look on the back of it.
Like the sunbeam like elements are attached to the top, but it's really like a braided wreath thing. Yeah, I like the braided wreath. Again, there's a lot of care in all the Gitmob models to show that like metal is precious. It's something we're enchanting to like steal sunlight, and so like a lot of stuff is built out of like woven, like wicker or like really well cared for like wood carving and stuff like that. So those are called the Frazzle Fangs. They are Drog's personally crafted like sun stealers. Cool. And they're made in such a way that he can selectively release light from them. Ooh, handy.
And so his thing in game is that if you are too close to him, he like turns on the light just enough to like blind you and make it hard for you to like hit him and his like allies.
That's very
nearby.
Cool.
Yeah, which is very fun. But yeah, there's not a lot on Drogs yet. I'm sure we'll get more soon because he's very cool, him and Jagged Snarl. And now we get to talk about the best boy, number one man, the absolute, like I said, tied for first for me with Gardas as my favorite character in Age of Sigmar, Skragrott the Loon King.
The Loon King is very good.
It's very good. So Skragrott is one of my favorites for the exact opposite reason that Gardas is. Okay. Where Gardas like tugs at my heartstrings because he's a well-meaning person trying to do his best in circumstances that he was not like trained for, like his genuineness and like care for the people around him, leading him to like this incredible task that is going to be like the rest of his life's great work. Skragrott's just a little scheming shit.
Yes.
He's just a little bastard that you love to hate. Skragrott's story starts very similar to a lot of other like goblins who end up in positions of power. So most goblin like shamans and stuff, people who commune with the bad moon to try and like ascertain its location, that starts with the bad moon speaking to them once. Right. It reaches out to them and it tells them where it's going to be. And then they spend like
in
time.
What way?
Visions or literally a voice in their head.
Okay, I was wondering if there was a voice. I wanted to know if there was a voice.
It depends. Sometimes it's sometimes visions. Sometimes it's very like toss the bones, kind of like they see the pattern of the moon in like mushroom growths and they like ascertain from that.
Yeah.
It's
but sometimes
mischievous.
You just get a straight up voicemail.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Skragrott was one of those.
Okay.
He heard the bad moon's voice in his mind. It told him where it was going to be, and he like led his clan to where it arrived.
God,
and they
really
had
just feel like a spaceship.
Right.
kind of just like that element really just give like spaceship motherboard AI vibes.
Yep. I think it's a good theory. Like a lot of people like it. Skragrott led his like clan to where the bad moon was going to arrive. They had a very successful like battle there, empowered by the bad moon, and everyone went, great, Skragrott's going to be, because like that happens frequently enough that people are like, cool, Skragrott is one of these like Moonclan wizards who can like ascertain the moon's position. That's not usually a very reliable thing. Like you hear the moon and then you can throw the bones, read the entrails, like try and ascertain its direction. And most goblins have like a 40% success rate.
Okay.
It's still tough to do even when you know what you're doing, even when you have a connection to the bad moon, because the bad moon's a little shit as well, and it's not always going to be like upfront with you. Where Skragrott differs is that is the last time he ever heard the moon. He doesn't have any connection to the bad moon. He's a big fraud, and I love him for it. So from that moment, right, there are two directions where Skragrott's life could go. He could join like the cabal of like moon predicting wizards. He could learn the study of magic in like orrery and like all or augury and like all of that stuff. He could land his like maybe 20% prediction rate because he doesn't actually have a genuine connection to the moon, and he's probably getting stabbed because he's not successful enough, and someone's going to use his body to like promote themselves or whatever. He lives a short, relatively, or like he could move out to a clan where they don't have any like good wizards and live like an unfulfilled life as like some third rate like servant to a goblin clan out in the middle of nowhere. Basically, there's just all these branching paths of like what Scragrot does with his life from that point, using this one opportunity that's been given to him. And Scragrot says, I'm going to take that and I'm going to do every devious, cunning, like insane thing I can think of to secure my future off that one fortunate event, no matter what I have to do to get it. And that's what he does.
Okay.
So originally it starts off pretty simple. Scragrot's other big claim, and I'm going to mention it even though it doesn't like come up a ton in the rest of his lore. His crown is not a crown, it's mushrooms.
Yeah.
The night that he got that first message from the Bad Moon, he had like mushrooms growing out of his forehead, and he just let them grow. And so that is the formation of his crown, and it is part of what augments his like incredible magic powers. He is a very good wizard, to be fair, and part of that is like brain augmenting mushroom magic.
Cool.
Which is fun. Yeah, he found that Grand Loon Cap is the mushroom on the end of his staff. Is also a symbol of his authority. He uses that to augment his like magic, and he himself made his other like little implement there, the little like skull staff he's got in his other hand, the babbling wand.
Babbling wand is very good.
It's very good. But so Scragrot, was not content to live out a quiet life. He was not content to like ride this one victory into like mediocrity. He starts scheming and plotting. And originally what that looks like is he starts just collecting all of the like wizards he can find that do truly hear like the moon's voice and like cross-referencing them basically. Not content to just have like one or two wizards around and then you either listen to one or listen to the other as advisors, but getting all of what all of them have to say, looking for where they overlap, and then making his predictions based off that.
That seems like a really good way to do it.
Yeah, smart. Two issues with that. One, all goblins are schemers. And all of those wizards see what Scragrot's doing, and they go, I could do that. Like, that's not that hard to do. And two, he's doing that as an equal. He's saying, hey, I heard the moon. And I have this idea for a thing that we could all do as all people who hear the moon. But the more he does that, the more it becomes clear to the others, like,
you don't hear the moon.
You can't hear anything. Like, you're not, like, connected to the moon at all. Why should you be in charge of this? And so, originally, it's like a retributive thing. Scragrot is very skilled in magic. He just can't hear the moon. And so he kills that original, like, cabal of wizards.
They learn too much.
And he does it through like fungal magic, where he basically zombifies them.
No!
Yeah, it's bad.
Oh, the zombie mushroom thing is my least favorite zombie.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. It's just like, I hate it. And so, because I'm so deeply terrified of that.
That's fair.
Scares me on a fundamentally psychological level.
I'm gonna tiptoe around it a little bit then, because it's gonna be a part of Scragrot's story.
No, it's fine. Now that I'm prepared.
Okay.
It just jump scared me. I wasn't. Listen, like I hate the ants that turn into mushroom zombie thing. Like I fucking hate that. That's just a thing that happens in our world. Because obviously I'm so terrified of it happening to me. I cannot play The Last of Us. I will not watch The Last of Us.
Absolutely
I cannot handle that.
Absolutely
I also
not.
don't like zombie things in general. Like,
that's fair.
Just in general, it's not my vibe. But like that thing in particular, I find so deeply terrifying.
Absolutely.
Now that I know it's here, it's fine. It can't get me. It's not real. In this context, goblins don't exist.
He just like gets all those guys, and he partially lazy, part of like I got him. He just like leaves them for a little bit. He goes and does other stuff. So there's just these like, they're not like zombie like wander around stuff. They're basically just like big fungal growths that he just like has in his like office basically. But what that leads him to is that eventually, he comes back to his office, he's doing other stuff and whatnot, and occasionally one of these like fungally mummified like wizards will babble something.
They're still connected to the moon?
They're still connected to the moon,
How much does the moon moon have to not like you to rather talk to these like fungal statues than you?
Right. We don't.
Why
Like I said,
does
we
the
don't
moon hate
know.
him so much?
We don't know the moon's like compunction. Like maybe this is part of it. Maybe it's like orchestrating Scragrot being Scragrot, or maybe it just genuinely hates him. We have no idea. But it's less. It seems like it's less that the moon is like still talking to these wizards, and more like we broke the radio, but it's still tuned to Moon FM, if that makes sense. They're catching stray signals from it, because a lot of what they mutter is still gibberish. But occasionally they all mutter the same gibberish. Ooh. And so Scragrod does what he was doing originally, and he starts cross-referencing what these like mummified like fungal wizards say, and he finds out that where they all like intersect, he can still make predictions off that. He can still tell where the moon's gonna show up.
Ooh.
And that's still, like I said, he's got 5, 6, 7 wizards he was doing that with originally. There's still a lot of failure rate to that. Like not enough info to reliably. There's like some moon appearances he doesn't catch, some places where he leads people and the moon doesn't show up.
Yeah.
Not reliable enough. So what do you think Scragrod does?
Does he get more wizards?
He gets more wizards.
Oh no.
So at some point in his history, the timeline's a little bit whack because, again, we're getting all this through like human oral history instead of like from goblins directly. At some point in his history, Scragrot, with the help of his like cohort of goblins, the King's Gitz is what he calls them.
Very cool.
Captures the fortress of Scrap-a-Spill. Used to be a like Caradron ship manufacturing like facility, but under the control of the goblins, it just turns into this like they build. I can't believe I haven't talked about loon shrines up to this point. Occasionally, the bad moon will like disgorge meteorites, like they'll just spit them at the earth.
Nice.
And goblins will gather those chunks of the bad moon and they will carve them into effigies of the bad moon.
I like that.
And those effigies give off moonlight. Like they give off bad moonlight.
Totally.
Yep.
Yeah. That's how moonlight works.
Right?
Absolutely. Because that's how the sun works. Absolutely.
Right. And so they build a giant loon shrine on top of Scrap-a-Spill, and it just cloaks the entire like city and like countryside for miles in every direction in bad moonlight.
Rad. That's what they want.
Yeah, it's great. And so Scragrod seizes the fortress of Scrap-a-Spill. In the like basement of Scrap-a-Spill, he finds like a tiny realm gate. What? It's seemingly like, and he explores it. He finds that it doesn't connect to anything in particular. Like some realm gates just connect to like their own like extra dimensional space, just like a little pocket. And he finds just like storage in it, basically. Like the Caradron who'd been using this place were just using it as a storage dimension.
Okay.
And like neat, cool. So what Scragrod does is he goes, well, my office is getting crowded with the like dozen or so wizards I've like mummified at this point. So I'm going to move them all to this extra dimensional like bubble.
I'm gonna put them in my pocket.
Yep.
Put them in this extra
and then I'm
broom
going to and then I'm going to use all of my cunning and clever as like a goblin like wizard and stuff to like learn how all of these like Caradron like scrap pieces and whatnot around this fortress work and like reverse engineer a bunch of them. So I'm setting up little like speaking microphones in front of all of these like fungified like wizards that collects all of their, so I'm not having to like stand in the room and like listen to what they're saying and jot it down, just like records everything they're muttering and like to cross-reference it later and just collects in this big nightmarish like tape recorder of like muttering wizards. And that like dozen or so wizards of like goblins that he like tricked and cajoled and like kidnapped and whatnot very quickly turns into, oh, if I do this to like any wizard, it makes a connection to the bad moon through them. Oh. And so it goes from, ooh, here's a dozen wizards that I've like tricked and cajoled and kidnapped, to every time the King's Gitz like raid somewhere, they kidnap all of the wizards they can get their hands on.
Oh, shit.
So there's humans and elves and,
shit. But it connects them all to the bad moon?
Yep.
Why?
Fungus, I guess. Yeah, Scragrod's magic, like, forces a connection in some way. But yeah, very quickly, Scragrot's little like pocket like moon recording dimension has hundreds of wizards who have all been like fungified and like hooked up to microphones and like collected, and he figures out enough about this technology to where it can just like separate the wheat from the chaff, and he only gets like good predictions from his huge like Minority Report style like nightmare machine that he has in this pocket dimension.
Damn.
And then he uses that to go in front of all the other Gitz and say, my connection to the bad moon is stronger than anybody's. Here's what it said.
Yeah.
And now his predictions are always right.
That would do it. Yeah, that would do it.
I love Scragrot because he is 100% prediction rate on where the moon's going to arrive, completely being like a chicanery, like,
yeah,
like, but yeah. And so he just, he leads the Gitz to like these big victories, and and like Scragrot knows if it ever came out that he's not legit, he would be like torn apart by wolves. Like they would be on him in a minute. Like his entire
will just eat his heart.
Yeah, his entire claim to fame and like his ability to be like a successful, powerful like goblin in this like backstab assessed society is his like 100% success rate.
Yeah.
Is that everyone thinks he's the golden ticket of like knowing what the moon wants.
In fact, he's just created like a really, really smart algorithm to
yes.
collect all these data points for.
Yes. Huh. He's a complete huckster. He's a complete like
he's getting the results,
scam
but not
artist.
Through
Yeah.
the means that he's claiming.
Yes.
Hypothetically, with what you understand about like goblin culture and stuff, if he had just turned around and done this and said, "This is what I'm doing and this is how it works,"
dead within the day.
Dead within the day.
Because some other goblin would go, "Well, how important are you to like running that?" I could run that.
You could run that.
I could listen to what all the like people are saying.
Interesting. So they just be like,
and I'm bigger than you. Right?
And I'm bigger than you. Is that it? Okay. Is it? Yeah. So it wouldn't have worked even if he was like, here's my job. My job is this thing.
No.
And this Barbie's job is
yeah.
to do data points.
No, it's entirely like he has to be like self-serving with it. He has to be like, he has
to present himself as totally unique.
I personally am the best and hear the moon best, and I'm like the best at interpreting what it's saying, and that's why I'm so successful. And none of you try and like get me about it.
You can't get me about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I love him because he's just such a little shit.
Damn, but it worked though.
Right.
That's incredible.
Right.
We'd love to see a blank even if it has fungus on these. That's incredible. Oh, that's so crazy.
His thing in game is that so when you play a Gloomspite Gitz army, the moon like goes through its phases and like gives you different buffs every turn.
Yeah.
If you have Scragrot, you can have him go, look there, and it will like pause on a face for a turn.
Ooh.
A thing that narratively it was always going to do. But Scragrot is going, look, I asked it to do that. I'm so important and special.
That's so funny.
He is also an incredible wizard, and his signature spell is through magic causing a chunk of the bad moon to fall off and meteorite strike an area. Yeah.
That's very fun.
It's very good. But
this is a fun one. I like these a lot.
Right. They're so good. But
wacky little guys.
They're wacky little guys, and I love them a lot. They're like I said, they're my main army. I play them all the time. I love them terribly. Give Trug better lore. Hashtag give Trug better lore. Late. Yeah, just have him fix his headache and like be a little bit clever. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I wonder if that's why they give him a headache, because they still want to be able to pull that bad boy out later.
I wouldn't complain. Yeah.
We don't want to lose that.
Yeah.
So he has a headache, and when the headache goes away, we'll be able to like pull out this cool shit we actually had planned for this way too cool character for something so basic.
He's neat. I like him.
Yeah.
But
this feels like they put way too much detail into this. Just this model is way too cool and has way too many like specific and unique elements about it. For him to just be big smash rage monster. It's just, I don't know. I guess things can be cool and just be big smash rage monster, but it feels like any of these other troggoths could have just also been that.
Yeah.
So why is this guy not more unique?
Especially when we have a pattern in like destruction, which is our orcs, goblins, trolls, like giants, of like our like unique named characters being more than that, because like the faction is a little bit that, and so it's nice to have a character like Gordrak, our like head orc, is notable because he's like a little bit of a philosopher almost.
Yeah.
He's the voice of destruction. He's the like, if we let you, Sigmar, you would build so many walls around yourself that you'd end up in a cage. Like that's why you need us. We're not just we are breaking stuff because it's fun, but you can't get rid of us because you would ruin yourselves. And like that makes him interesting as a character, like more than just being a smash monster.
Yeah.
King Broad, who we'll talk about in the Giants episode, because he's our like named character for Giants, is unique because he's got this like his conviction towards like giant kind and like what he wants for them is so powerful that he is a priest, like in game terms, of just his like own personal convictions. Like he can pull divine power from a god who doesn't exist, like and that's fascinating.
So it's
like,
weird that this named troll character doesn't have a
he's
more
just a
distinct
troll.
character type.
Yeah, like he's just another troll, and that's frustrating.
Yeah. Okay.
But
absolutely.
in the meantime, that is our concluding episode for Gloomspite Gitz. I'm super happy to...
Gitz, goodbye.
Yeah, I'm super happy to have talked about them. They're my main army. I'm a big fan. Honestly, they got put in here because I wanted to get more episodes recorded so we can get like some in the can so we can have a consistent like release schedule going forward. And I'm working on a cities episode, and wow, there's a lot of shit about the cities of Sigmar. And those notes are going on forever and ever and ever and ever. And that might be like a 3-part episode.
You need
it's
to
gonna
bust
be a
out
lot.
one that you know you can do.
Yes, exactly. I didn't have to do any research for this one. I know this lore by heart.
Like the Pride episode on the Bunker 9 Muses bonus. It's
Yeah.
like, I don't have to do any research for that. I can bust out how much I'm annoyed with Reed Riordan doing bad comments on queer characters any day of the week.
Yep. Next time, I'm not sure what we're going to talk about. I kind of want to talk... yeah, we're probably not going to talk about cities. That still needs a lot of research to do. I'm kind of pulled to do either a vampire or a ghosts episode, because those are both pretty cool. And it wouldn't take like a ton of research for me to do either of those. But yeah, we'll see. I'd say like leave in the comments, but definitely by the time you hear this, we've already like recorded and edited the next episode. But
I mean, since we did talk about vampires a little bit in the last episode.
Yes, that's true.
Thematically through line talking about
that's
vampires,
true, and I do like vampires, so
nice.
I like how AOS does vampires. So
sounds fun.
I could be excuse for me to reread The Hollow King, which is one of my favorite AOS novels. But
nice.
Yeah, but
so maybe that.
Yeah, maybe that.
We'll
but in the meantime, thanks so much for listening, everybody. I have been your Dankhold Trog boss, Dalton Montgomery.
And I'm Darian Smart. And if you saw me on a wanted poster, no, you didn't.
See you again soon.
Bye.